International for more than a week, even though they have valid visas for medical care. Attorneys claim the mother was forced to sign a deportation order just to receive food. Immigration officials denying mistreatment and say that she confessed to seeking asylum. We've got criminal defense attorney Joseph Tully for us. And this is, it sounds as though a he said, she said type of argument. What really weighs more in court?
So this is a really interesting case, and I had to kind of pick apart the various legal issues going on here. So she came here with her son, so her son could have surgery on his hands. He has medical conditions where his hands would require surgery. She came here on a tourist visa for that. However, in going through customs, she told them, look, I also plan to stay here and seek asylum. Well, that invalidated her tourist visa. And so then she went through the asylum process, and she met with an asylum officer and gave her side of the story. The asylum officer said there's no credible threat here. And then she went before a judge, and the judge reviewed the same determination and also found that there's no credible threat. And therefore, the asylum process didn't work. So she was sort of kind of kicked out of the tourist visa process because of her intent, and then she lost during the asylum process. However, she was stuck in the airport under inhumane conditions. So the legal issue here is whether or not she's being treated fairly while she's waiting to be deported, having lost her deportation process.
So is there not a method for this? Is this the proper mechanism that usually happens if this arises? Because Dulles International receives many international flights. I imagine this is not the first time that there has been a situation similar to this. What is the mechanism? Do they go to an ICE detention center? Does that person stay in usually at the airport?
So the normal process for somebody seeking asylum is to come to a port in America. Then they say, listen, I want to seek asylum. I have a credible threat of fear of returning to my home country. And if they lose that process, then they can go through an appeal process, but they normally can't stay here while they do that. So it's really a process of how long does it take to be deported once you're here and you lose the asylum issue. So that's normally how it would go. However, here the issue is that, as you're saying, she's stuck in an airport, no windows, a bed, and a toilet for her and her young son, and she's pregnant, and she's going through medical issues. And other medical providers that she's seen have said, look, they're not getting enough food. So this hearing is really about the conditions that she's under while stuck in the room at the airport.
What are we expecting to hear a determination here? Because it's clearly on an emergency basis here, given what you've just described.
Yes, I imagine the judge has stated on the record, we've got to get her out of that room at the airport. Those conditions are inhumane. And so I imagine that she'll be ordered for her and her son to be released and to stay in another detention facility pending deportation, but where the conditions are actually humane as opposed to what she's suffering through at the airport.
Definitely. Joseph Tully walking us through this complicated case there at Dulles International. We appreciate it. Stay with us here. We'll be right back.
Does your student loan payment make you